Hi everyone, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, Jai Mata Di. Welcome to my YouTube channel Merchant Navy Decoded. I have got Captain Sanjiv Beri with me, a mariner who became a highly successful entrepreneur, I would say. Then some failures led to him getting into a course of mental well-being, and today with over 2 lakh followers on LinkedIn, he is doing phenomenal for lakhs of people across the globe, those who want to become stable mentally. Being entrepreneur wise very successful, financially very successful, what led to this path, how he chose this wonderful career as a mariner, this is his journey. Welcome, Captain Sanjeev Berry. I'm really blessed to have you on my show, so thank you very much for joining.
Thank you so much, Pratik. Thank you for having me. I'm so honored and I feel very privileged to know you and also to be on your show. And I would love to share my journey. So, how it all started, what was my love for the sea? I grew up in a household. My dad was in the army, and it was a totally different kind of upbringing, very disciplined and everything else. I was right from the get-go. I had no desire to be in the armed forces at all. What my passion was as I was growing up was to become a combat pilot in the Air Force. Obviously, that did not happen, and one thing led to another. I started to smell and really feel this joy of adventure, and that led me to do something out of the ordinary. So obviously, wherever my dad was stationed, none of those places were close to the sea, and they were quite far away. And I didn't even have any kind of flavor or sense of what the sea life would be. But I was really drawn to the merchant marine, and I really started to dream about it. So there's one thing in me. Anytime and every time I set myself to visualize, I set myself to start to look into my future or something that I have set as a goal, I absolutely go all for it. I'm like a bulldozer. I don't stop. And that is something that really got me so, pumped up to start looking forward to sea life and everything. And back then, we didn't have Google or any kind of searches that we would get a lot of information out of. So I started to do all of my own research. And I was so determined. Then I sat for the entrance exam, got into the merchant marine. I started my career with Shipping Corporation of India, SCI. And I was really very, I felt very privileged that I was one of the very few candidates who got selected into the pre-sea training and all that stuff. So it was really, really an honor for me to do that. And I was very successful. I was the type of a person who actually did almost out of the 3 years training as a cadet, and of course the pre-sea training before that, I actually did only take a vacation for one time for a month. So I was very blatant. I finished my 3 years almost way ahead of a lot of my course mates, batch mates. So, and I went through all my exams and, passed everything. And I also became one of the youngest captains at sea. So that was who I was. I did very long stints. Altogether, I sailed on 24 ships, different kinds, and I was also a few years in command. And then I just wanted to move on. I'm not the type of a guy who wants to stagnate
Sir,
and
I'll
do
ask that
everything.
before we move
Yeah.
on, sir. My which year did you do your pre-C, sir?
So I came out to sea in 1974.
And for how long did you sail? Like, when did you get your first command? Which year?
I got my command in 1984.
That was, how old were you when you got your first command, sir?
I was about, I think, 24 or 25 years. Yeah.
So you're 25 years old, you got your command as a captain on board ship.
Yes. Yes.
In which company, sir? SCI.
No, I got my command in a company which was the name of I don't know if this company is still there. Vijay Doot was the name of the ship that I was in command of. Yeah.
How long? Then 84, you got your first command. Then how long you did your stint as a captain, sir?
From 84 to 89, I sailed as a captain.
So around 30 years, at the age of 30, around 30, you quit sailing. Am I right, sir?
That is correct. Yes.
So why did you quit sailing? Now I'll start
I,
with small questions.
I quit sailing because I wanted to move on to higher things. I'm the type of a person, I don't like to stay put or just stagnate in one place. I was aspiring to really do something higher and bigger and really become an entrepreneur one day. So I applied for a student visa to get into United States. I was still, my last trip was um, in the Caribbean. I signed off over there. I went to the U.S. Embassy, applied for a student visa, got my visa, and then I started my MBA in New York. So I came as a student to United States, and I was so determined to stay put over there. One thing led to another. I found myself a job, and then I was also one of the founding members of a very large company, which was in crisis management consulting, and became the largest in the world eventually. And so I was really very determined to move up the ladder, do something exciting, make a difference in people's lives, make a huge impact in the world. So that's who I am. I'm a very, very driven person. Once I set myself to something, I am like a bulldozer. I
Yeah.
don't stop.
So with your more than 2 lakh followers on LinkedIn that you've recently started says it all that you get into the depth. But sir, it has been a very fast course for you, like you have explained. But as a budding entrepreneur, there's a lot for me to learn out there. So you went to US, you did your MBA, then you started a job. For how long did you do that job, and what was that job? Can you tell it in brief, sir?
So initially, when I got my first job, it was obviously for purposes of getting my residency here, which is called the green card. So I obviously, when you don't have a green card, there are companies who exploit you and take you on at low wages. And I was prepared to do anything and everything just for sake of getting my residency and a status in the United States. So I started off with the company. It didn't last very long, and then I was approached by the company that I eventually became the CEO and president of. And they really wanted me to join as one of the founding members. That was right at the time when US Congress passed a law which came to be known as Oil Pollution Act of 1990, OPA 90. And that mandated lots of companies and service providers to have representation in the United States as a qualified individual and response manager. So that's where we were filling in the gap. So at the time when I started my company, I started to grow very fast, very big, and it started to happen. Then I merged my company with the larger outfit, which is known as O'Brien's. I don't know what the name it is under right now, but obviously it has been sold several times since. And I was one of the founding members, and I took upon myself to grow the company. So ever since I joined the company, we grew 62% in less than 2.5 years. So at the time when the company just started out, we were probably the fourth largest in the world, and within 2 years, we became the largest. And to the point where I took a lot of pride in my efforts and meeting and exceeding people's expectations and going above and beyond, raising the bar all the time, to a point where nobody could even compete with us. So people used to invariably ask me, who is your competitor? And I said, honestly, if you want to know the answer, there is no competitor because what we do, nobody else does. So, always becoming very innovative and creating new services, creating new trends, creating new ways of doing business. That was my passion. That is who I literally fired me up. I literally that was a driver and a fuel for me to just keep moving and moving and moving. That gave me so much of joy that I felt this is what I've brings me the most happiness in life at that time, of course.
As a budding entrepreneur, not just me, but so many entrepreneurs out there who really would want someday to achieve something like what you have done, what would you suggest? Like you must have seen many businesses, some have succeeded beyond expectations and some have miserably failed. What are those factors you feel define success of a company, even a failure?
So, one of the things that I feel, and I would love to share with everyone who is listening to this show at the moment, is follow your passion. Regardless of what it is, it may be small, it may be something that may come to you as if everybody else is doing the same thing. You have to remember, every one of us is a uniquely talented and very, very distinct from everybody else. So what I am and what you are, Pratik, we are very distinct. You are good at so many things that I'm not good at. We can't be good at everything. Most of us, why people fail is because we follow what others are doing. We are followers versus being leaders. And you know what? Leaders are risk takers. And I'm a huge risk taker. If you're not a risk taker, you're not a leader. So I tell people, there are two types of people in the world: person who drives the train and another person who rides the train. I'm a driver. And I urge all of you to become drivers in your life. Become the driver. Take risks. You have to take calculated risks, of course. I'm not just saying blindly take risks, but that's what will make you the best leader there is in the world. I've taken so many risks in life, and that is what has propelled me ahead of everybody in life. And also because I truly followed my passion all the time, regardless of what it was. It may be small, it may be something very trivial, it may come across to other people who may joke about it. Don't let that deter you. Follow it. Follow your fire, follow your passion, just like you're doing, Pratik. I'm so impressed with how you have created this platform, and you're attracting so many wonderful young individuals, and bridging the gap of the knowledge share and everything that you're doing is truly amazing. That's exactly what I do. At the moment, I have a few different side hustles, and you can call them different businesses, but I love doing that. And I love making a difference in people's lives. I want to really share my wealth and share everything that I have so that people don't have to struggle the way I struggle to get to where I am today. And I feel very proud about it, who I've become over the years. And I'm sure I would love to share every piece of that, of my journey.
I have two questions for you from this statement that you have given, sir. One is, I want to know the one of the biggest risks that you have taken in your life. One, and it might have failed, might have been a disaster, or it might have turned out well. But one biggest risk that when you were taking that risk, even you had those uh, your hair rising above. What am I going to do if this fails? Something like that. Second question is, we all keep talking about follow your passion. Ratan Tata is talking about follow your passion. Narayan Murthy is talking about follow your passion. You talk about follow your passion. Many people do not know what they're passionate about. This is one of the biggest things. Like at the age of 32, I realized. At the age of 32, I realized that I like talking to people. I like doing seminars. I like going with the flow, candid. This is what I like. Maybe solving people's problem or pain points. This is what I at the age of 32. So my first question is, I want to know the biggest risk that you have taken of your life. And second is, those who do not know what they're passionate about, how to find that passion. I hope my questions make sense.
Yes, yes, they do. They do. So let me share with you one of the biggest risks I took, at least as most people can relate to, especially being a mariner. One of the risks I took was one of the ships that I was on. We had loaded containers, and these containers were loaded, and they were quite a mismatch because the first port of call, the containers were loaded right at the bottom, and then of course the whole order and sequence was completely topsy-turvy. So we arrived in Australia, and there wasn't any way to undo that, obviously. We were at Anchorage, and everybody was trying to pull their hair, the charterers and everyone else. And it was the mistake of the stevedores and the planning that took place. There was no fault on the ship whatsoever. And so I took upon myself, and we were anchored. And back then the ships had, cranes on board and so on. We literally moved all the containers and brought the bottommost containers to the top. How we did it, it was quite a teamwork. And I always emphasize on teamwork because, collectively, we are so many different brains and so many different ideas. And I think we all need to pool them all together and come up with something that is amazing. And that's exactly what we did. I took that risk. It was a huge, huge risk. We could have dropped those containers out in the water and things like that, but I took that risk, and we did it so successfully. The charterers and everybody was blown away. Of course, they said that, what if this would have happened? What if that would have happened? And I said, listen, why are you talking about things that don't even exist? Talk about the outcome. And that's what I want to drive to most people is when you're focused on something as an outcome, there is nothing that can deter you. You will absolutely get what you want in life. And that's exactly, you got to be laser focused. You cannot just be wishy-washy and then not be sure about yourself. One of the things that really makes a huge difference is when you have your own self-confidence. Believe in yourself. Don't let anybody deter that or move you away from your own worth, self-esteem, and self-respect and everything else, because there's no one like yourself there is in this entire world. So um, that is one of the biggest risks I took, which is very relatable to the mariners. Yeah.
That is very relatable to the mariners, but I would love to know one more risk that you have taken, which might not be relatable to mariners, but still it is related to life. One risk I would say is when you switch over from being a captain, earning so much high salary, but you decided to quit and become take a student visa and go for MBA. I do not know what you thought, but you have done exceptionally well. Any other risk which you have taken in your life, which you thought, oh God, this was something out of the box, or I shouldn't have done this?
Well, I think most people would regret at some point in time on things. There are good decisions and also not so good decisions. I never use the word bad decisions. I say not so good decisions because, there is no good or bad in life. It's how you perceive things. So, yes, I also took a decision at the time to move on from one job to another, which was not a very good decision at the time and didn't result in it. But you know what? That was the beginning of my personal development journey, which is something I needed. And that was the time when I was all the time go, go, go. 15 years, no vacation, 15 years working like an workaholic, I'm sorry, and all those type of things. And that was so much of a drive in me that I just felt this is life, this is joy, this is happiness. But then came a time when obviously when you're living in such a artificial space and beliefs and everything else, the bubble is going to burst because that is not who we really are at our core. I
I'm going to
feel
talk
there
about, sorry,
needs
sir,
to
I'm
be.
interrupting in because when we go to the bubble, before that bubble, I've got one more question remaining. Then we'll come to that bubble.
Sure.
So,
Yes.
sorry, sir, 15 years you talked about, that is, I guess, from 1990 to 2005, while you were working
Yes.
in US all the time. Am I right, sir?
Yes.
So
Correct.
that was like, it was like you have told me earlier that it was like 15 hours a day, whether it was Christmas or a weekend or a birthday party at home, you were just working all the time. And I think so that's what made you successful. One question maybe we'll take it in the end, and that is, how would people know what they're passionate about? We'll take it in the end. Now, so 15 years of very, very successful entrepreneurial journey. You become a CEO, you reach the top. Then what happened now? Let's talk about that bubble that bursted. Let's talk about that.
So what happened at the time was that I was approached by another outfit, another company to come work for them because they were one of our competitors at the time. I took the decision that why not? I mean, I went for, and we all do. There are times and in life where we get attracted towards or drawn towards something which we think is something bigger and better than what we have. And I think a lot of times that is not the correct move to do. One needs to sit back, one needs to analyze, one needs to take time to literally go over a few more details rather than making an impulsive decision. And I said that earlier, leaders are risk takers, but you got to also be very calculative in whatever risks that you're taking. See where you are, and we all aspire to grow. We all aspire to become something bigger than ourselves and something better and all that. But you need to take into account different details of everything that's in there, lay it all out. And I think sometimes it's not a good idea to be impulsive. And I was at that point very impulsive in taking that decision, which was actually the beginning of a downfall for me, which was a wake up call. But then, I always say that hindsight, when I looked at it, I think it was a wake up call for me because I was just on the go, on the run all the time, and I was pursuing things which I believe were bringing me joy and happiness. But in reality, they were not joy and happiness at all because my life was very unbalanced. I was not leading a balanced life, not having a relationship with myself. in the very true sense. I had no relationship with my daughter. I wasn't a good father to her in her growing up years because I was all the time absent and away. And so, that also had an impact on my divorce and a relationship with my ex-wife and all this thing. One thing leads to another. And I will talk about that in a little bit later. But I'm just saying, sometimes you have to literally sit back and reflect, pause. I am a big believer in pause. Pause and reflect. Don't be all the time on the go. That's why I believe after I've taken on to things that I wasn't doing, I wasn't practicing in my life, like meditation, it has literally calmed me down and also made me more alert and active in terms of visualizing things in a very balanced way. And that is extremely important.
Sir, it is going to, it is turning out to be a very, very important lesson for me as well, because I am on the go all the time. I believe no pause, no comma, no full stop, just going, not thinking, and then making a lot of mistakes as well. Well, talking about mistakes, sir, I would love to know the biggest mistake of your life and what led to that.
So I feel the biggest mistake of my life was not having relationship with my daughter. And I felt extremely guilty that I wasn't a good father to her in her growing up years. I was literally neglecting that side of me. The relationships equation was totally absent. I wasn't giving enough time in building up or repairing my relationship with my ex-wife, or for that matter, with my parents as well. So, there comes a time where we are always constantly trying to change other people. And this is something that I learned later on in life, that we cannot change anybody. We can only change ourselves.
I agree.
Like Mahatma Gandhi ji said, be the change you want to see in others, in the world, in people. And that's exactly where I was going wrong. I was trying to change people, change my ex-wife, change my mother, change everybody else around me to become who I want them to become. But that's not how it works. The minute I got that, revelation and realization, I literally, I had a breakthrough moment where I started to think, what if I just stop trying to change someone? What if I change myself? And when I started to implement that in my life, I started to see all the changes because, we radiate that energy. When we change ourselves, we also get other people to change the way we would love to see them be in life. And that's exactly how things were unfolding for me that point on. But it was, and I say this, it's never too late to change. It's never too late to transform. It's a journey, and we all need to come to that a pause in life where we need to reflect on what's going on, analyze what's going on and what's not going on right, better, or things the way we want things to happen. And that's when we need to sequence and put everything down and look at it in a very objective way and take the right steps moving forward. And that's when, I think a lot of changes can come. And I feel I'm a true believer of everyone must have a mentor and a coach. Everybody. We cannot be self-coaching ourselves. We cannot be, because you need a different perspective. We need accountability from someone else who is higher than ourselves. I'm a coach. I'm a qualified professional coach, mentor, and trainer, and everything. But I also have a higher coach. I also mentor from someone who I believe can put me do all necessary, get me to do course corrections. We all need course corrections in our life. Every point in life we do need. So we need somebody who is higher than us, just like a higher power, just like the universe or God, if you believe in God. And I think we need to be accountable to ourselves. We need to have somebody who can hold us accountable. So that's very, very important and crucial in life.
Thanks for guiding me with this thing. So my question is that 15 years you slogged, you had a difficult relation with your wife, with your parents, and then a lot changed. Now, sir, you talk about mental well-being all the time today. What led to this change within you? Matlab, when was that eureka moment came into your life? oh, this needs to change, because so many people might have told you, Sanjeev, do this, why aren't you doing things? And it was always, you change. And suddenly a eureka moment came and you changed. When did that happen and how?
So that happened right after I got divorced, right after I left the large company, which was eventually sold. And that was a wake-up call for me because I was amassing all the wealth and everything. And then came my divorce. I literally gave everything to my ex-wife so she could have a comfortable, life and all that stuff. And I also lost a lot of money in the financial, markets when they crashed back in 2007 and 8. So that just got me down to zero. I literally fell down from wherever I was, right down like a stone. Like you throw a stone, it just got me to hit the rock bottom. That was the time when I just woke up and I said, you know, what is that I was trying to chase all these years, all the life and everything? That was all false. I was literally trying to build a house with no foundation. And when you build a house with no foundation, what happens? It falls apart. It's not going to stay. You need a foundation. And that foundation was missing in me. And that foundation was all the things that were not happening right in my life. Relationships. That was number one. I had no relationship with myself. Obviously, when you don't have self-love, you will never be able to love anybody else in your life. So that wasn't there. Spirituality wasn't there. I wasn't being very regular in going to for prayers or meditation. All those things were just not there. So I took a moment to pause and reflect and think about things that were missing in my life. What were the pieces that were missing in the puzzle? And these were the two big pieces that I felt were totally not there. So I started to work on these pieces. I started my journey with Tony Robbins, and that was a big, big step for me because I had no money. And I just put everything on my credit cards because I believed in myself. I was hungry for growth. I was hungry for transformation. And I was committed. And I said, whatever it is, I'm going to. And that was a big risk too. Imagine you have no money, you literally have nothing, you hit your rock bottom, and you're taking this big, huge step to subscribe to and become one of the, enter a club which is of elite people who have, hundreds and thousands of dollars, and to become part of Tony Robbins, platinum partnership. It costed me $150,000 for 1 year, and I put it all on my credit card. Why? I believed in myself. I knew I will come out of this with flying colors, and I will really make it and something that would transform me the way I wanted to really get completely vulnerable and exposed and start my journey from the very rock bottom. And sure enough, that was a big risk I took because nobody would ever imagine doing what I did at that point in time.
Nobody can.
Yeah.
$150,000 on credit card for Tony Robbins. What did he do in your life? We all would love to know that now, sir.
So Tony Robbins, he's my mentor, he's my guru. I absolutely adore the man. He I spent a few years with him traveling around the world in the very exclusive club. So you're amidst all the people who are very high achievers. So when, like they say that your environment makes a huge impact on you. And there's a saying that, we all become an average of 4 or 5 people we hang out with. We just become our environment and the people we hang out with. I got myself with all these high achievers, all these people. And one thing good about all the Tony Robbins Platinum partners is we are very close knit. We are committed to making everyone, each other, succeed in whatever that they want to do. And that was the time where I literally also started to hone into my passion of what are the golden nuggets I have in me? We all have golden nuggets in us. It's just that we are covering them up, we are putting layers and walls and whatnot, and trying to become somebody else, trying to become who we see is doing so well in life. For example, I could be an engineer and I see somebody who's in Wall Street making tons of money. Then I started to start to compare myself with that person and say, well, I want to do Wall Street. But guess what? That's not your passion. You will never do well as that person will do, because that's not something that brings you fire and brings you. So I started to, the journey with Tony Robbins really was a personal development journey. He literally tears you apart. I mean, you get to tear your own self apart, literally to rock bones, bare bones. And from that point on, you literally to see, basically, you see all the cancer in your body and how much it is, spread and growing and all that. And that's the journey where you try to remove all your cancer cells out. It's all personal development and come out to become who you are at your core. That's when I realized I'm not I was trying to become. I am who I am at my core. I could literally see myself with so much of clarity and depth and all. And that's what I started to see and heal all the areas and traumas of the past, and started to, focus on things that I really wanted to focus from that point on. And that was huge, huge for me. And I just feel so blessed and honored to have been on that journey with Tony Robbins. That has been a turning point in my life.
So talking about focus, sir. So you hit your rock bottom, no money. So I did not know this, sir. I just knew as a successful entrepreneur, I thought you must have earned millions and then you started this journey. I never knew that you had again hit a rock bottom. And I believe people, those who go through these ups and downs and those who come back again, they are the highest achievers because they have seen the rock bottom. And like Amitabh Bachchan, and I would say that you also saw that. So my question to you is, he tore you apart, you started back then again, so you found your true passion. And what did you realize, what was your true passion then?
So my true passion was to make a difference in people's life. I love doing that. Even when I was running a company, I made a huge difference. I went above and beyond in servicing the clients, in exceeding their expectations, and also making it a point. We had clients in 39 countries. I would go and visit every one of them every single year. It was hard. It's not easy to do that, but I did that. But why? Because I wanted to have that connection, the bond, and face to face kind of meeting with every one of them. Because every time I went there, it just solidified our friendship, our professional, connection with them, and they absolutely admired that. So what happens is when you do this, you make a ravings fan culture. People love you because they trust you. And I say one of the ways that anyone can succeed in life is when people first they have to like you, then they will trust you, and they'll do anything for you. They'll do business for you after that. So I came to a point where whatever new services we were creating, people would just go blindly for it because I had that level of trust, and I call that enrollment. So a lot of people struggle in business, and the reason why they do is because they have hard time getting clients. And the reason why they don't get clients is because they are very poor enrollers. And I'm going to do, Pratik, one of the shows with you. I'm going to teach everybody how to enroll people in your life. When you enroll someone in your life, so let me take this as an example. You and I, how did we, connect? I enrolled you and you enrolled me. We both enrolled each other. It was very mutual. And once we enroll each other, which means the level of trust, the level of confidence, and the connection that we build, after that, I can just give you a glass of water and I'll say, Pratik, this is for $100. And you say, you won't even think, you'll just grab it and say, here's $100. I'm going to drink it. It's the best thing because why? I've earned that level of trust and honesty from you. So I believe in you. That is what is extremely important. When people start to believe in you, they'll trust you to no extent. They will just go and do whatever that you say because they know you're honest, they know that you're committed, and they know you are completely transparent and vulnerable. They see you inside out. That's
So,
what it
sir,
is.
2008, I guess around 2007, 2008, you got enrolled with, you got associated with Tony Robbins, if I'm right, chronologically.
Yes.
Then and since then, it's been 15 years, I would say today. What keeps you busy now? Matlab, how are you? One is LinkedIn. I keep seeing your posts today, connecting with lakhs of people. They like your post like anything. You make so much sense that that post on Steve Jobs, it's such wonderfully written by you, what he tried to say. What keeps you motivated now? And yes, apart from helping people out, how do you run your kitchen? I would say, what's the revenue stream as well? Because I think money matters. You started from again from zero. So what are you doing this as for both the factors?
So right now, I'm developing programs for maritime companies on mental health. I feel there is a big gap. There is a big need-based area of mental health and mental well-being. And I've developed some amazing programs with some friends of mine. We've gotten together, and I am just about to launch those programs for companies. And I think that's something that I've also interviewed a lot of people in the maritime company. So that brings a lot of joy to me because I'm going to make a difference in people's life and I'm going to fill a need based area, which I don't think anyone is addressing it the right way. Everybody is trying to create cookie cutter plans and cookie cutter programs, trainings, and so on and so forth. Just follow the herd. Just this is the need. Just create something, like a checkbox, checklist, and do this, and you'll be good. That's not the way it works. I am applying I brought in all the areas and things that I've learned in my own journey. I believe the only way you can, share the wealth of transformation with people is when you have been through it yourself. You cannot read books. You cannot watch videos and become something that you aspire to become. It's when you share your own experiences, they become absolutely profound and deep and they impact the people. And that's the kind of program I'm also developing. That's one of my businesses. The second business is LinkedIn. I do on the side. I believe every professional, every aspiring person must have a LinkedIn account. LinkedIn is a very professional platform, and I'll be happy to share and my knowledge and about LinkedIn, how I have grown from nothing to 280,000 followers in a little over a year. I started LinkedIn, last year, I will say 2022 in August. And now we are in January, 1st of January, New Year's in 2024. So in this span to grow 280,000, so you can literally see, the fire and determination and the path that when I take on something, I just don't stop.
I love it.
So, and I love to share this. So I formed a little bit of a LinkedIn club where I mentor and teach people how to do their profile, optimize their LinkedIn account, and how to grow organic followers, not just getting fake followers and things like that. So I coach them. We hold calls and Pratik, I would love to share this wealth of information for all your prospective clients and the people that you're trying to make a difference in their life, especially all the newcomers, people who are just starting out new in any profession that they want. I would love to share, everything that I know about LinkedIn because I think it's a huge and amazing professional platform. Everybody should be on, and everybody because LinkedIn is literally your resume, your CV that people look at. So you got to relate to that exactly who you are and how people can perceive and see you in a very honest and truthful way.
With this, all I want to say is definitely, sir has got a YouTube channel, and sir is also on LinkedIn by the name of Sanjiv Beri. Sir, can I know the name of the YouTube channel as well, sir?
It's also Sanjeev Berry.
It's
Yes.
called Sanjiv Beri, Sanjivberi. The link is in the description box as well in the comment section. Please go subscribe the channel as well as follow sir on LinkedIn because I'm also doing the same. Along with that, very soon I'll be making a series of videos with Sanjiv Beri sir. Once let me transform what mariners generally need. It will help sir get a lot of knowledge on ki, okay, this is really what is happening in people's mind because I think I'm connected with people and sir is also doing a lot, but I'm getting a lot of data from Marina's point of view. I feel that. So maybe I'll be sharing that wealth with Sanjeev very soon. Let us see what comes out. I definitely feel with the knowledge, with the execution power that sir has got, it will come out to be phenomenal. With this, sir, all I can say is thank you very much. Your journey has been inspirational. Reaching a top, then coming back again to the bottom, and then reaching, it requires a lot of guts, sir. Salute for that, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thanks for this videos. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pratik. Thank you so much for everything.